Mari Regalado, Rio Grande Guardian, La Mujer del Pueblo. Good afternoon, everybody. I am here with Norma Limón, the Field Office Director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Ms. Limón, it is my pleasure to be here with you, and thank you for allowing us to be here again with you.
Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and to give your viewers a little bit about immigration.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Limón, we have several questions for you today. Last time we met up, it was in 2022, in the interview that we did in the fall of 2022. We did because reason we did it was because the Biden administration was making a specific push in certain areas of the country to encourage longtime legal residents to consider becoming U.S. citizens. This administration was targeting areas with high percentage of immigrants. The Rio Grande Valley was one of them. Can you please tell us, are we still promoting this? Are you still promoting this?
So we are always promoting citizenship. That is our bread and butter application that we adjudicate here in the field office. But we always, since I arrived at this office, I've used this platform to promote citizenship to all of the community. We go out to Mexican consulates, we go and work with other community-based organizations to promote citizenship. We, with Biden's administration, we did have we had an order to promote citizenship in areas where there was a huge amount of permanent residents. And at the time, 2 years ago, it was estimated about 150,000 residents were living in the Rio Grande Valley. I don't have the numbers today, but I think that push really encouraged our residents to move forward to the next step and file for citizenship. But that is something that we have continuously promote and continue to promote because we want our community to become naturalized citizens.
Excuse me, do you know roughly how many legal residents there are in the four-county Rio Grande Valley? And I know you just mentioned more or less 150, but do you know more or less if more people have gotten involved and becoming naturalized citizens?
So every month we conduct naturalization ceremonies. We conduct them administratively here in our office. We also have judicial ceremonies, which the courts oversee those naturalization ceremonies. So approximately 500 people a month become citizens here in the Valley.
Wow, that is great. That is great news. Question number 3. So currently, I know that we're probably not pushing, the USCIS is probably not pushing to get legal residents to become citizens. Or are you still, the poster girl for this?
So we're still encouraging and promoting citizenship. We want our community that are holding a green card to become U.S. citizens. That is the goal. That is the vision. I understand that many people came to the Valley when they were little kids, and they're not aware that they can become U.S. citizens, or they not understand the process. They've always lived here. They speak the language. They have assimilated, and so they don't understand that there is an additional process they have to take in order to be in the United States permanently as a citizen. And that is our goal, to go out in the community and educate our communities and becoming the U.S. citizens. So the process, what it entails, what is needed. They already speak English, which was one of the criteria to become U.S. citizens. I think it's just a matter of knowing where to go and how to go about applying for citizenship.
Oh, awesome. What are the benefits of becoming a legal resident? What are the benefits for legal residents to become a U.S. citizen?
So with the naturalization, becoming a naturalized citizen, well, there's a lot of responsibilities, but there's also a lot of privileges. One of them is that now that you become a citizen, you have the right to vote. And this year being election year,
Yes.
it is extremely important because you as a citizen, as a U.S. citizen, you have the right, you have the power to elect the president of the United States. So that is the number one goal. And secondly, once you become a U.S. citizen, you can petition for your non-citizen siblings who don't even have a green card. They can start that process of petitioning for a mother, a father. They can become permanent residents through that U.S. citizen. You know, if you're 21 years old and you are petitioning for your parents, you can do that. Your parents can have a green card. Your siblings, brothers, sisters. If you have children who are not U.S. citizens, now if you naturalize and you have children under the age of 18 who are permanent residents, they automatically become U.S. citizens.
Oh, great.
So there's a lot of benefits. You also can work for the government. I became a U.S. citizen because I wanted to work for the government. And if somebody would have told me one day I would be director of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services office, I would have never believed it. I just wanted to work for the government and become an officer. But there are so many opportunities. We have so many government agencies down here in the valley: Border Patrol, Customs. We have Citizenship and Immigration Services, ICE. So once you become a citizen, you can work for any of those government agencies. You can also run for office and become a representative, a senator, a judge. Those are the privileges of becoming a U.S. citizen. But there's also a lot of responsibilities, right? You have to participate in duty. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I'll just leave that out. Okay. He said he's gonna cut, so I'm trusting that.
If you're a legal resident, how easy is it to become a U.S. citizen? What is the process?
So now that we have a lot of electronic process, a person can apply, file an N-400 application straight from their home, their computer.
Oh, okay.
Because they can file it online, they can pay online, or they can submit it by paper. But submitting it by online is so much faster. So the criteria is they have to pay the fee. They have to be a permanent resident for at least 5 years. It is 3 years if they're married to a U.S. citizen.
Oh, okay.
If it's a spouse. If it's a child, once they turn 18, they can file for the N-400 to become a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
They have to have resided in the United States at least they have to prove that they're permanently resided in the U.S. prior to becoming a citizen, right, at least for 5 years. They have to live in the area where they're applying for the application at least 90 days in advance. Like reside in the valley for 90 days in order for their application to be adjudicated here in the valley. Or if they move, whatever they move, residence for that area for 90 days. They have to be a person of good moral character in order to qualify. And I think that's it. They have to be able to speak and write and read English. There are some exceptions to that rule.
Okay.
If the person is 50 years old and they have had their resident card for 20 years,
okay,
they can take a test in Spanish or whatever language, the native language.
Okay.
If they have a green card for 15 years and they're 55 years old, they can also take that test in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
If they're 65 years old and they have resided in the U.S. for 20 years, they have a green card for 20 years, they can also take the test in Spanish. However, their test will be, instead of 100 questions, they study 20 questions. So it's 65 and 20, only 20 questions, 55 and 20 years as a resident in Spanish, or 55 and 15 and 50 and 20.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, so there's exceptions. So people think, oh, I don't know how to speak English. I've never learned how to speak English. I'm never going to pass that test. But they're residing in the U.S. for 15 years, and they're already 55 years old. They can take that test in Spanish.
And how many times can they take the test? Is there a limit to take the test?
So when they file the application, if they fail the first time, they have a chance to take the test again. So they will be scheduled automatically for another 90 days to retake the exam. If they don't pass, then the application will be denied, and then hopefully they'll go and take some classes to learn how to speak English, and then they can apply again.
Okay, so when they take it the first time and let's say they failed and then they have 90 days to retake it, do they have to pay again that fee that?
No,
Okay.
it's basically it's one application. You have two chances.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, to
Okay,
take
so
to
that,
retake the
yeah,
test.
so that's awesome because let's say they don't pass the first time, then they have 90 days, but 90 days is a long time. You have time enough to study, viewers. You can study this test again, and I'm more than sure that you will pass. And for the same fee, guys. Don't forget that. And because you already answered question number 6, we're going to go into question number 7. I know we went over this last time we met, but our new readers, listeners, and viewers can tell us again about your personal journey to become a U.S. citizen. In some ways, like I mentioned, you are the poster child for the process. Can you please again tell us that story? A lot of the Guardian, Steve and I received calls on that, and people were very happy. You know, I think I can't say it in Spanish. I mean, I can say it in Spanish, but it doesn't sound that good. I think people were motivated. Emotionally, they were motivated to say, you know what, I want to do that. I want to become a U.S. citizen. And a lot of people, mainly that are older, want to become citizens because they want to be able to vote, like you mentioned, for the president. And I think that just for our local politics, it's so important that people come out and vote. So can you tell us the story again, please?
Sure. So I was born and raised in Matamoros, Tamaulipas. I am one of 13 siblings. My parents, they only had a 6th grade education, and they wanted a better education for their children. So Mr. and Mr. Jorge Rincones and Gloria Rincones moved to Brownsville, Texas, with all my siblings. I was going into the 2nd grade in Matamoros, which was 8th grade in the United States. But because I spoke no English, I couldn't read or write or understand English, I had to repeat 7th grade. And that was tough for me to come to a new country, but it was not impossible. I was very eager to understand the language, to know what the other girls were saying about me. So that was my motivation to really learn how to speak English. I went ahead and graduated from Porter High School in Brownsville in the top 10% of my class.
Wow.
Move on to go to Texas Alamos College, and then became UTB in Brownsville. I graduated from UTB Brownsville in 1993 with a bachelor's degree in business administration. I also want to mention that I play volleyball at the Texas Alamos College with a full scholarship. I was very proud of that. After I graduated college, I moved to Michigan. I lived there for 4 years. Then my then husband got a job with ICE, and we moved to Kansas City, Missouri. In Kansas City, Missouri, I decided that I wanted to work for the government. He worked for the government, and I thought, well, I can too. And so I applied for a clerical job with, back then it was INS, but I was rejected because I was not a U.S. citizen. So that was my motivation. I found out how to apply to become a citizen. I applied for citizenship. Once I received my certificate, I call it my golden ticket. Once I got my golden ticket, I went ahead and applied again for a government job. This time I got hired because now I was a U.S. citizen. So I became an officer. And I loved that job. I wanted to be the best officer that I could be. And I did everything possible to learn all the aspects of the job. If somebody needed a volunteer for something, I raised my hand. I just really wanted to learn. But when you work hard, your work does not go unnoticed. So 3 years after, I was offered the position of supervisor. And again, just like the first time, I wanted to be the best supervisor that I could be. And I tried everything new. I raised my hand. And then 2 years after being a supervisor, I thought, well, what else can I do? So I decided to apply for an assistant center director position. But this time I was not selected. So I had to do some self-reflection and understand what skills I was lacking to become a leader, a higher executive. So I went back to school. school was painful. It was painfully slow. At the time, I was 42 years old, and I have 5 children. So it was took it really slow. I took one class at a time, and after 3 years, I graduated with a master's degree in project management. 6 months before I graduated, but with honors, I must say, I was offered the position of assistant center director.
Wow.
In Limon, Missouri. And just like any other job, I also asked, well, after 3 years, well, what else can I do? And then this position as director in this office was open, was available, and I thought, well, why not me? So I applied for the position 9 years ago.
Wow, congratulations.
And I have been here ever since. And I can tell you that since my arrival, I have used this platform to inform my community to become a U.S. citizen, how urgent, how important, how valuable it is that we become U.S. citizens. And I tell them, this is my story. My parents decided, they want a better future for me, for my siblings. I know everybody has made sacrifices to be in this country. Everybody has a story to tell. Maybe not you because your parents brought you, but your parents have a story. And we have to go out there and share it. And so this is my story. I'm very proud of the work that I have done, but I'm also very proud of the opportunities that are offered in this country.
Yes.
And so here I am today as a director.
Congratulations. And it is a beautiful story. Readers, viewers, listeners, it is a beautiful story. And like she stated, we all have a story. I have a story, but obviously it is not my day today. It is Norma Limon's day. Ms. Limon, question number 8. I've asked you, in reference to your story, but apart from helping residents become citizens, what other work is done in the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services?
So prior to becoming a U.S. citizen, folks have to be permanent residents.
Okay.
So those applications are also filed in my office. So we do applications for permanent residency, legal permanent residency, whether it's through a child petitioning for the parents, parents petitioning for their children, spouse petitioning for another spouse, sibling to siblings, an employer petitioning for their employees. Those applications are processed here. So we do review the application, make sure that all the criteria, other requirements are met. If we need to do an interview, we do interviews. But for the 485s, typically we don't require an interview.
Okay. So the applications that are being done for our local people come here to your office?
Yes.
They don't go to like Chicago or where they need to go?
The 485s, which is a petition for permanent residence, are filed through the lockbox, and then they come here.
Okay.
Now we're also interviewing or processing applications from other parts of the country. Like right now we're processing applications from Houston and San Antonio.
Okay.
And our own. But if we don't have enough in our queue that are ready to be worked, we work cases that are ready to be worked from other offices. The goal of the agency is to meet a 6-month processing time for all of our applications, for I-485s, for N-400s, N-600s. So that's what we're working on. That's what we're are allowing all the field offices to assist each other to build that parity and have a 6-month processing time. That's the goal.
Okay, great. Number 9, we are here at the Harlingen office today, but I understand, because I was at a meeting that you had for nonprofit organizations, which I was in shock, that you are moving to McAllen, which I was very excited because I get to bother her more often, She can't hide from me anymore, guys. I get to bother her more. You are moving to McAllen. Why are you moving, and what is the time frame that you will be moving?
Yes, we are moving to McAllen. Actually, it's the borderline of McAllen and Edinburgh. We're moving to a facility that is a Wells Fargo bank right now. We will be occupying the 3rd floor. It's in the corner of Trenton and McCall. So we are estimating to be moving by the end of May. Okay. While we're moving, this office that we're in right now, we received this lease. Our lease is up. after 20 years, we have to look for a different place or remain here. This office used to be an INS office. It was a district office. And my office is a field office. So obviously it is bigger than your regular field office. So we are moving to a blueprint that is a lot smaller in here. Interesting because we have a lot more employees now, but back in the day when it was a district office, ICE, ERO, HSI, they all reported to the district director. So now that we don't have that, we're moving to a smaller facility, and so that is the plan to move to the McAllen field office. Well, the good news is that it will be called the Rio Grande field office.
Oh, wow.
Rio Grande Valley field office. So it will change the name from Collington field office to RGV field office.
And you will be calling that name because we have the 6 or 7 counties where you're the field director. Is
Yes,
that correct?
we're serving all 6 counties down in the valley.
Okay.
From
That's
Cameron County to Hidalgo, Willacy, Star.
Hidalgo, and you'll be serving also Brooks County,
Brooks
which
County.
is Falfurrias, right?
Yes.
The checkpoint, where the checkpoint is.
It's all on this south side of the checkpoints.
Oh, okay, excellent. How about Jim Hogg? Because that's also in Rio Grande, right across.
No, no.
Not Jim Hogg, okay. You know, it was awesome. My last question is, do you have anything else to say?
Well, I would like to encourage folks to really understand the process of U.S. citizens, of the naturalization process. I encourage community-based organizations, if they want to invite us to do a presentation for their clients, for their customers, we are more than happy to attend one of their meetings, and we can do a presentation on the naturalization process. We do that already. Like I mentioned, we go to Mexican consulates, any kind of consulates, and we have a standing presentation with the McAllen Mexican consulate. We started doing some presentations with the Brownsville Mexican consulate as well. We can do it via Zoom. We can do it. The Brownsville Mexican consulate did a Zoom. We did a Zoom presentation, and they had us on Facebook Live.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was pretty neat. So anything that we can do to bring that education to our community so that they know and understand the process of becoming a U.S. citizen, it is the easiest thing to do. I know that sometimes people can become intimidated by it, but it's so easy to do it. You don't need an attorney to file for an N-400. You could do it without having to hire one. If you don't have the means to apply for an N-400, you can apply for a fee waiver. There's a form I-912 that you can submit to exclude you from having to provide the funds for the N-400. So it's an easy process.
Yeah, so you get to save all that money just in case, you know, you're having a hard time with your income.
For our senior citizens,
Yes.
that would be a good.
Perfect.
Mhm.
That would be perfect. Ms. Limon, it was wonderful to be here, and I believe the office you'll be moving to is the one that used to belong at the very beginning. I think Congressman Hinojosa used to be there,
Yes.
and then I believe temporarily, Congressman Vicente Gonzalez was also there.
Yes.
So more or less, guys, you know where it's at. So I will see you guys. Thank you so much, Ms. Limon. It was my pleasure and honor to be here with you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to come into your beautiful office, but I'm sure you will be having a more beautiful office where you will take us again. Thank you so
Will do.
much. Mari Regalado, la mujer del pueblo, Rio Grande Guardian. Thank you.